In Sheep's Clothing, written by XR171. Railcraft was happy. He stood firm in the center podium of the control room of his ship, a modified Gret medium courier, salvaged from a shipyard before the Terrans could capture or destroy it. His ship, like him, emanated arrogance and power. He and his crew had recently taken over the passage of Qatari, the only safe passage into Qatari space without going around a dozen singularities. The passage was a narrow corridor between two of the large black holes, and had been charted at great cost in lives and ships. Now a premium was charged for any traffic brave enough to go through, which means only the most time-sensitive and important cargo went through it. More importantly, it was valuable, with most people willing to pay whatever ransom he charged, and it was a lot. As always, they hid in a carefully picked blind spot and just waited. The last ship a month ago was carrying a rare vintage rose spice wine of the Qatari coronation. The ascending king's aide paid enough for it that he lived like a king himself, especially after drinking a bottle of it for himself. Now he was waiting, staring into space. His pilot maintained the ship precariously balanced between gravitational tides. A small mistake would see them all lost forever. This plus her share of the rewards was sufficient motivation. Incoming contact from outside Qatari space, announced the sensor operator. The advantage of his ship's position was that the blind spot worked one way. They could see out, but no one could see them until it was too late. "What is it?" Krath demanded, though his answer came shortly when he saw it through the view screen. "Road freighter moving slowly, loaded with cargo pods." Krath could easily make out the long, rectangular, and brutally efficient design of the rogue cargo ship. A simple rectangular ship with external cargo pods attached. Its powerful but slow sublight engines burning at full strength to keep the ship on course. "The rich don't learn, or don't care. Oh well. Plot an intercept. Stand by weapons across the forward end," Krath ordered. His engines powered up, bringing his ship in above and behind his oncoming treasure chest. "All hands prepare to retrieve cargo pods." The pirate vessel made its approach and, when in range, fired its disruptors ahead of their target's bridge. It was over an open comm line that Krath made his demands. "You will immediately cut your engines. Once your speed is down to minimum, you will begin ejecting your cargo pods. Once complete and clear, you will slowly increase your speed to 1/3 and leave. Any attempt to send a distress signal or failure to comply will result in your destruction. Any survivors will be sold into slavery. Signal your surrender now or face destruction," he announced. Years of experience from both sides of this taught him compliance was the easiest and cheapest option for all. The ship and goods were insured. Opportunists like himself were more interested in cargo to sell and less so a fight. "We are cutting engines and slowing as ordered. Standing by to eject cargo pods," came the frustrated but flat reply of the other vessel. He understood the feeling. Shipping goods through this passage was very profitable, if it worked out. Today was his day to make money instead. Krath's ship maintained a cautious approach as the Rose ship slowed down. When instructed, they began ejecting their cargo pods from the hull. Sensors were mostly useless in pass, but heavier pods moved away from the freighter more slowly. They would be priority, along with the lightest pods being second priority. As he made his approach, imagining what goods he was about to open, a cargo pod opened. Then another, and another until they all did. "Captain, incoming signals," his sensor operator announced. Alarms went off. They had just been hit by multiple active targeting systems. "We're target locked. Targeting sensors have a Terran signature." Krath felt the blood drain from himself. He fell onto the deck as he began to realize his fate. From the cargo pods emerged Terran attack fighters and boarding shuttles. The boarding shuttles bearing a distinct eagle, globe, and anchor of the Terran Marine Corps. On an open comm channel, he heard the captain of his former mark announce himself, this time with confidence. "This is Captain William Adams of the TRW Lab. Our fighters have their weapons locked on your engines, life support, bridge, and weapons. You are ordered to immediately stand down and surrender. Prepare to be boarded. Any hesitation or resistance will be met with deadly force. Signal your compliance or die." Krath could barely get the words out. "Cut engines, power down weapons. Lamb, we surrender." "Thank you. Terran Marines will be boarding your vessel through the port and starboard airlocks. Your entire crew will be taken into custody. Any who resist will be killed as active combatants. Don't test us. We're offering you a way out of this alive, the Terran captain responded. Moments later, boarding shuttles locked into the airlocks. The fire teams immediately disembarked, rifles at the ready. Krath watched from the camera as he realized life as he knew it was ending. He and many others knew better than to attack any vessel traveling under Terran registry, let alone their warship. It was cowardice, he concluded, for them to hide among cargo. Yet that didn't matter. They had him, his ship, and probably his life. It was then he noticed a very strange creature entering his ship. While it was still his, at least. Just a round hip height of the Terran with it, walking on 4 legs, its armor plated and flexible when without a helmet, its ears ending in sharp points, its teeth like tiny daggers, and the eyes scanning everything. Binocular, predator eyes, just like the Terrans. Then he saw the nose, constantly shifting. When they turned a corner, its face immediately turned to a false panel, and the thing let out the loudest sound he had ever heard from a creature that size. The Marines immediately turned their rifles to the panel. "Get out or die," one of them announced. One of Krath's crew slowly emerged, appendages out, to be immediately greeted with rifles pointed at them, with bayonets at the ready. The small predator, ready to attack and still being very loud. A Marine immediately forced the crew member on their stomach. The creature stopped making noise, but never took its gaze off of them. "Good boy, Rock. Riggs, cover him, and take him back to the shuttle," the Terran closest to Rock ordered. "Aye, Gunny," Riggs replied. He placed restraints on Krath's crew member, then helped him up, before guiding from behind at gunpoint back to their boarding shuttle. Krath saw from the external video recorders that more boarding shuttles had docked with the first 2. Moments later, they entered and Krath was ready, hands held out and away from his body. He was restrained in a similar manner and walked back to the boarding shuttle. Once there, he was restrained into a flight seat, and when it was full, the shuttle detached and headed back to the warship. Once aboard, he was seen by medical personnel and taken to a holding cell by himself. He reflected on his life. He had money, lots of it, sitting in an account in the Krath bank. Luckily, the account codes were only inside his head. He hoped that one day they would become in handy again. Everyone knew the Terrans took a special offense to raiders like himself. No one in the Galactic Confederacy had ever thought to pull a stunt like this. This changed everything. If the Qatari pass wasn't safe, if it wasn't profitable, then his trade would eventually collapse. Slave markets might go next. He didn't care about any of these things in particular. He was more focused on his strategy to one day have space under his boots again, picking targets of opportunity. The next day, Captain Adams was meeting with his staff in the wardroom of his ship. Through a comlink was the first officer now commanding the captured Gret and pirate vessel. "Captain Cooper, status report," he ordered. "We've swept the ship multiple times with sensors and dogs. I have a high confidence there's no one here but us humans. No damage to the vessel. We can match your speed with ease, and the food sucks," he answered. This was met with a chuckle. "Very well. We'll transfer some MREs over first chance. I'll see if the CSCS can spare some equipment and stores too. For now, we need 5th Fleet Command with us. We'll reach out for update orders once we clear the passage," Captain Adams stated. "Communications report status. We're still unable to raise 5th Fleet for the Spectre, as it is expected. We've prepared messages as soon as we're clear," the communications officer replied. This was met with "very well" from the captain. "Medical?" the captain asked next. "No wounded from our side, a few bruises on the pirates that tried to put up a fight, and one dog bite from a pirate that tried slightly harder. No serious damage to either, no communicable diseases, and no major health problems. They all seem to be on average good health. We still have plenty of supplies aboard. I foresee no problems," the doctor answered. "Very well. Jag," the captain moved on. "Charges have been prepared for all of them. Only a few have agreed to talk to me, the rest are remaining silent. Legal representation is standing by on Raxus 4. "Very well, MC1. Between our sensors, flight records, and those in the captured ship, you get enough useful material for SecDef." "Aye, Captain. I'll be organizing it until we return. I've already flagged several clips as high priority. Rock and Gunnery Sergeant Bladen splashing that guy out of the false panel is going to be a huge hit. Between all of this, we've got some great stuff." A couple days later, with all the fighters and shuttles nestled back into their cargo pods, and the freighter looking no different, it emerged from the passage of Qatari. As it emerged, it flashed a peculiar pattern of lights. Nearby, inside the TRW Spectre, a Terran stealth ship, they recorded the mission accomplished signal. They quietly set course for the next objective and moved on. 3 weeks later, the galactic comnet was flooded with reports from the Terran Republic. Broadcasts were interrupted for an important statement by the Terran Secretaries of Commerce and Defense.
As many of you have seen, under our direction from the Terran Department of Defense, we deployed our newest class of warship. The Sheep class is designed solely for anti-piracy measures. Following many common civilian hull designs, these are, as they say, wolves in sheep's clothing. Their purpose is to lure pirates into attacking before springing their trap. For many, many years, the problem of piracy has been seen as a catch 'em if you can, but otherwise let insurance companies deal with the problem. While controversial, our approach has been much more aggressive. The result, ships flying our flag or under our registry, are left alone. Now we take the next step, the Secretary of Commerce announced. The Secretary of Defense took the lectern and went on. I want to be clear. The Terran Republic remains resolute and steadfast in our desire for peace. Peace for ourselves, peace for our allies, peace throughout the Galactic Confederacy, and peace for shipping. In the history of our world and that of known space, free and safe trade is the single biggest way to facilitate peace. To further that goal, we are expanding our anti-piracy operations. While we are taking the lead in this, we are not alone. Our allies, the Row and the New Gret Cooperative, and others nearby and far away are providing full and welcome assistance. We invite all nations to join us. The age of piracy is coming to an end, he stated, before letting the Secretary of Commerce speak again. Let us be clear. The age of pirates is ending, but we offer this choice. Turn yourselves into the Terran Republic. Our legal system is built upon the respect for all life. We uphold and honor the rights of the accused. You will not be tortured, summarily executed, or forced to endure cruel conditions. You will be judged, fairly, but judged, or you can face judgment from whatever divinity you wish. Either way, we'll arrange the meeting. There will be a free and safe passage for civilian traffic throughout space, no matter what it takes. Surrender, or we will unleash our attack dogs.
End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.